Hello friends, I'm Kaustubh and I'm back with discussion on Hind Swaraj, the book written by Mahatma Gandhi in 1908. In this book, Gandhiji tries to express his views on freedom struggle, the British, Indian society and so on, which helps us understand many dimensions of the society that we live in today. Before I move ahead, let me request you to subscribe to this channel, like, share and comment on this video once you're done watching it. In this session, we'll be discussing the question, why was India lost? In the last session, Gandhiji was speaking about the British civilization. He was expressing views about the English so-called modern civilization. Today, we will see the thoughts he expresses about the condition of India. Basically, he is trying to answer the same question, that why was India lost? But from the point of view of the weaknesses that exist in the Indian society. In the words of Hannah Arendt, who is a political theorist, the causes for problems are majorly internal rather than external. So the point is, the blame of India being taken away by British or dominated by British, the blame is on Indians rather than the superiority of the British, which is the conventional understanding that the British or the English civilization was better than the Indian. It was white man's burden. They were superior in terms of their knowledge, their political organization, their skills, their scientific advancement as a society, and as British claim, in terms of morality and ethics. And that is why they could easily defeat India, enslave India. This is the view that Gandhiji is challenging in this discussion. Now, friends, let us explore the question, why was India lost? Gandhiji says that the English have not taken India, we have given it to them. And then he goes on to explain the concepts of commerce, war, and morality in the context of the East India Company. He believes that our understanding of history, that why British won and why India became slave, a great country like India became slave, we tend to think in terms of linear model. Just take a look at this. How does history unfold? We tend to think that A leads to B and B leads to C. So for example, Lord Clive, the British officer, took away Bengal, then it was the Battle of Buxar, and then English ruled India. But then, this linear understanding of history is problematic. Can we say that history is a linear set of events that are causally related? So British were superior, India was inferior, and so the result was C, that British dominated India and India became slave. In his book, Sapiens, Yuval Harari says that this is not the way history is to be interpreted. Rather, this is how history is. It can be interpreted as a series of accidents. So, some factors lead to A. After A, it was possible that this could have happened, but then just because of certain circumstantial events or factors, A leads to B. After B, there are again number of options, but then C happens, and then again C could have resulted into multiple things, D happens, and then this chain goes on like this. This series of accidents is what is history. The problem is we don't look at history like this because we tend to look in hindsight. Right? हम पीछे देखते हैं, and then we try to justify what happened. That हाँ ठीक है, British were more superior, industrial revolution हुआ था, and then they came to India. India was decaying civilization, and suddenly British were superior and they took over. But think again, maybe this is not true. Again, we come to the same point. We will have a better view when we say that English have not taken India. We have given it to them. Think about commerce, war, and morality. Problem is, the Indian civilization has a way of interpreting things. Maybe at this point, there was something different that was happening in the Indian society. There were a number of factors that were taking place globally, and then the British were just the right people at the right place. Somehow, the two systems, Indian system and the British system, were so different that the accident of history allowed British to capture us. If you do not believe this, think about the Battle of Cajamarca. It is in Latin America or Spain. The Spanish, when they went to South America, there were just 168 Spaniards led by Pizarro. And then there were nearly 80,000 Incas which were led by Atahualpa, who was the king of the Inca Empire. Now, in his book, Guns, Germs and Steel, Jared Diamond speaks about this incident, and then he also highlights the same fact. that what should have been the result of this exchange or encounter between Pizarro and Atahualpa. 168 Spaniards on one side and 80,000 Incas on other side. You guessed it right. The problem is Pizarro conquered and executed Atahualpa. Now, this we cannot just interpret in terms of the superiority of the Spaniards or Pizarro, or even it has been documented that Pizarro reneged on his promise, deceived, and then executed Atahualpa. So here the difference in ethics, morality, the systems, the civilization, the value structure, the factors that go beyond what we see in battle. So why did the Spaniards arrive at the in the first place at South America? So here we can understand the same thing, that we can't just say that the Spaniards were superior to Atahualpa. The systems were so different that the accident of history allowed Spaniards to dominate Atahualpa. Now, if you interpret the Second Battle of Tarain, Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori, the same issue, the recent conflict at Galwan, what we see as betrayal from the Chinese side, maybe the China doesn't view that as betrayal. Maybe deception is their strategy. Maybe the two systems are so different that we are not able to comprehend the Chinese properly. Maybe this was the reason that we did not comprehend the British properly. So, different systems, they have different notions of ethics and morality. And that is why Gandhiji believes that what is the problem is not the English people. It is the modern civilization. Somehow our civilization was in a state where we accepted uncritically the Western values, Western civilization, and allowed the British to step in. Gandhiji believes India is becoming irreligious. Now the point is, you are aware that Gandhiji was a deeply religious person. Religion for him was a private affair, individual affair. So he saw religion as a source of ethics. That is why he believes that India is becoming irreligious, because we are adopting external values or situations which are not suitable in our own context, the Indian context. British also forwarded this theory that Europeans are industrious, they're enterprising, and Indians are lazy. Right? Indians are good for nothing. But then Gandhiji is raising an important question, that you are again trying to interpret the Indian reality from British prism or British lens. They live in a particular geographical climate, they have different value systems. Indians, because of in the last session I discussed the difference between Western civilization and Eastern civilization. So Indians, Chinese, Japanese belong to Eastern civilization. So here we have different virtue of work ethic, the way we look at life. We are a bit otherworldly people. Doing nothing has also its own value. So Europeans are seen as industrious, enterprising, because they have a lot of ambition, material ambitions, basically aspirations, and they are greedy. And at that time, yes, they were. That is the reason why British and the European powers came to South Asia, East Asia, and even South America. So here we did not go out. The reason is geography. J. Diamond in his book clearly mentions that it is geography, that Indians had no reason to go out. So this difference in the systems cannot be interpreted as superiority of the Europeans or the British over Indians. That is what Gandhiji is trying to say in his book. But then, is all that good and beautiful in India? Gandhiji says, where there is a light, there is also a shadow. So he was very much aware of the limitations of Indian civilization and the problems that we have. But then he was also very mindful about the deadly effect, about uncritically accepting the Western values. So he was saying that the deadly effect is people come under its scorching flames, believing it to be all good. So the way we behave, way we follow Western values and consider British to be superior, because that is what they propagated in India, that it is white man's burden, we are the superior race. So this belief and acceptance of Europeans being a superior race had a deadly effect on Indian civilization. We were left without roots. But Gandhiji also says that Indian civilization has a lot of problems, like superstitions, we certainly need to be which certainly need to be fought and opposed. But disregarding religion is no solution. So what he's saying is we need to believe in religion to rid it of its problems. So we cannot become irreligious and then reform religion. Religion is a social system which needs to be preserved because it gives you meaning and a way of life. And Gandhiji is saying that religion has problems, but we need to believe in that religion to allow us to make those changes. We cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. So, just because religion has certain flaws, you don't have to become irreligious and take up something which doesn't suit your context or civilization. That was the basic message of Gandhiji. And then about the white man's burden, he said that the present peace is only nominal, for by it we have become emasculated and cowardly. So, the systems that British gave us, they seem to be superior, they seem to be modern, but the peace that we have got through those institutions or those systems, we have become emasculated and cowardly. We have been completely broken or tore off from our own roots. So, what Gandhiji is speaking about is metrics of evaluation. We cannot judge Indian civilization looking from Western values. Just think about governance. आज के context में, what is the most followed method in Indian governance? Everywhere we look for best practices. And from where do the best practices come? These best practices come from Western countries, which are very good in economic development and human development index. But the problem is, why can't we think? Why do Indians not think in our own context? Why do we need the best practice that is being followed in other countries? Just think about this. Today, if Singapore is doing something, or a European country like Scandinavian country, for example, Norway is doing something, Finland is doing something, or America is doing something, why do we need to follow that? We need to ask this question, that from where did the Norwegians, the Americans bring this practice? And you will realize that they didn't copy, the Japanese didn't copy any other system. They evolved a system based on their social, political, and economical realities. The context was at the heart of problem solving, and they brought solutions which were very much local in their context. And that is why they succeeded. And now we have to do something. Our society has problems, our administration has problems, and we are borrowing and transplanting those solutions, expecting wonder results. That is why I believe India is failing. We need to evolve solutions locally. Just study the process of Japanese industrialization, the way they industrialized, the way the work culture in Japan has evolved. They don't follow the best practices from other countries. They evolve, they generate, they create, innovate the best practices in their own country. And I think this is what is needed in India. Then only it is possible for us to go for development. Lastly, Gandhiji speaks about unity also. He says, so long as we fear our own brethren, we are unfit to reach the goal of Swaraj. So he is speaking about unity, the need for unity. He is also speaking about the processes. This means the solution will not come from outside. When we speak about Swaraj, first we need to solve our differences. And when we say we need to solve our differences, he is hinting at institutions, structures, and processes that are required in a society, in a polity, in an economy, which will take care of the issues that arise within that society. If we do not have platforms of dialogue, discussion, debate, we will not be able to evolve a thought process which will allow us to identify and solve our own problems. When we try to transplant solutions from outside, we exactly hit at the root of our own existence. Just look at the Indian cities today. We want to make Shanghai out of Mumbai. Every city, we are trying to follow the practice like smart cities. We want to follow practices that have been practiced in other cities. Things don't work that way. Look at our rural India. Look at our urban India. The systems of governance are decaying. There is centralization. The problem is we have not understood the basic tenet that was being expressed by Gandhiji, basic thought that was being expressed by Gandhiji in this book. And it is that we do not need best practices. We do not need external solutions. We have to have our own solutions for local problems. Indian solutions. So, with this, we'll end this session. I'll be coming up with the next session very soon. Till then, thank you.